I will call this meeting of the Planning Commission to order. The first item of the agenda is adoption of the agenda. Does staff have any changes?
No changes.
Anything from commissioners? Seeing none, is there a motion?
I move.
I'll second.
So Roberts and John.
Thank you.
Is there any discussion? See none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. The second item on the agenda is to approve the minutes from the August 12th, 2019 Planning Commission meeting. Does staff have any changes?
No changes from staff.
Anything from commissioners? Seeing none, is there a motion?
So moved.
Second?
John and Awad. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Motion carries. The third item on the agenda is a public hearing for the City of Burnsville for conditional use permit to excavate and fill within the KMRAM floodplain to construct a public trail located in Kelleher Park at 14951 Burnsville Parkway West, presented by Alan Brixius.
Hello, everyone. I'm their planning consultant. You probably have never met me before. I'm with Northwest Associated Consultants. As the title indicated, what we're looking at tonight is a conditional use permit for the excavation and fill of floodplain area. When we're talking about this area, this is what's being considered by the Planning Commission. In your packet, you'll find that this trail corridor has been extensively studied. You have a no-rise certificate from the DNR. You have a fen management plan. You have a construction profile, floodplain assessment. You have the entire trail plan that was prepared for this, so you can see how it works, and I'll take you through those. As wetland delineation, this is consistent with your comprehensive plan as well as consistent with Met Council's long-range plan for the area. As we move through this. This planning for this park trail was begun as early as 2013 and has been in the works since then. The place that we're talking about goes through Kelleher Park and also Murphy-Hanrahan. The site is illustrated on your dais, showing the location of the park between Burnsville Parkway and Judicial Road. The site is zoned park and also conservancy. Within this zoning districts, trails themselves are permitted uses. And the only reason we need the conditional use permit is because we're affected by the 100-year floodplain. The Lake Marion Greenway study, which was prepared in 2013, included references to this trail segment. You can see this area right in here. In 2013, more specifically, you can see how it affects Kelleher Park off of in this direction. This is a more specific detail of how the park trail will enter and exit over to the Kelleher Park location between Judicial Road and Burnsville Parkway. The location and siting of this has been specifically guided and directed and designed in a manner that would have the least amount of impacts on the neighborhoods, on the floodplain, and the wetland that we're passing through. In looking at the conditional use permit, we have some specific guidelines as to whether they meet. Is danger to life or property due to increased flood. We have a certificate dated 7/1/19 from DNR that says we will not have any significant raise in flood elevation. Danger of materials being swept into the flooding during flood seasons. These things have been designed in a manner we're only adding 17,160 cubic yards of additional fill. A floodplain, the design of the trail as well as the boardwalk are will be such that it will not result in any downstream removal or damage to those structures, or causing any flotation downstream that would cause destruction to adjoining properties. Does it affect any of our water supply or sanitary systems? We did note that there will be a hydrant relocation in conjunction with the trail development. However, this is not a direct impact as far as utility service or capacity. Is the improvement subject to floodplain damage? Trails are a allowed use in the flood fringe. They are specifically allowed based on FEMA, do not represent a flood damage potential. The importance of providing services. Here we get into some of the issues. Our comprehensive plan stresses that our parks and trails are important amenities within the community. This trail corridor has been adopted as part of the 2040 comprehensive plan, and its implementation facilitates the need for this public improvement. Requirements of the facility for waterfront connections, waterfront location. This is going to meet all building code and ADA requirements. The trail design as well as the boardwalk is extensively built to allow for disability access. The boardwalk, in fact, will be constructed to accommodate truck traffic for maintenance to keep it open year-round. Alternative locations. A number of locations were looked at. There's a number of environmental concerns here regarding the fen and the quality of or endangered species. This location represents the least amount of impact on those environmentally sensitive items. And compatibility with existing and future land uses. In looking at this, we're making the claim that the location has been specifically guided based on the physical characteristics of the site. It avoids environmentally sensitive areas as far as the fen. It also protects against some of the endangered species. It's located with separation from the neighborhoods. So we're making the finding that it's no significant impact on floodplain. The boardwalk will be located in lower quality wetland areas. The boardwalk will be elevated 5 feet above the surface, such that vegetation will not be impacted. Specific steps have been taken to minimize the impacts on the fern. No lighting will be proposed on the trail, and the boardwalk will be constructed to accommodate emergency vehicles and maintenance vehicles to keep this a year-round facility. Finally, the relationship with the comprehensive plan. When we look at this location, we find that this is consistent with the policies and the recommendations of the comprehensive plan. The 2040 plan includes this component. The studies that have gone into it demonstrate the preferred location. This is only part of a larger trail system, including trail segments that have been built further to the north, including this portion that has been constructed in 2018. The total trail segment to Lake Marion is anticipated to be completed by 2021. This is a segment. This is the 100-year floodplain that may be impacted along with the stream. You can see what's being designed and corrected, and I'll let the engineer describe this additionally. We have boardwalk sections located right here, trail sections. Again, the boardwalk extending back over to the highland where it becomes trail again. The design of the trail is intended to offer year-round use. Staff review, we believe this has been heavily studied, well beyond just individual city staff. We believe that we're recommending a approval of the conditional use permit, and with the conditions that all wetland and water permits be approved prior to commencement of public work in public waters. Construction of the boardwalk meet all requirements of state of Minnesota and City of Burnsville regarding building code ADA requirements. As constructed plans are maintained on file and required by Emergency Management Agency, Floodplain Management Administration, and pursuant to the FEN management plan. one of the areas of concern is with year-round use, removal of snow, and how we treat the surface of the walkways as well as the trails. With that, if there's any questions, Public Works, myself, we have the city engineer, engineering consultant in the audience will try to respond.
Thank you. Commissioners, are there any questions for staff? Commissioner John?
Okay, so this is a county project, am I right? Or is it a city-county mix project?
I'll let Ryan speak to that.
Yeah, Commissioner John, members of the commission. The way this goes is Dakota County has created a master trail plan all throughout the county. And what they do is they leave it to the cities to try to get funding to do these projects. And then they partner with us when we're actually developing them and building them. Then should we get them built, then the county takes over maintenance and ownership of the project. They just, I think they're trying to reward cities that are ambitious about trying to get these in. So you're right, it's a combination. We get it built, we turn it over to them for maintenance.
Okay, and then, so you're saying the county is in charge of the maintenance? Do we know how they're gonna clear the snow off the trail at the boardwalk portion? They're gonna push it away with truck, is that what we're saying?
Yeah, Commissioner, it'll be a wide enough to use a pickup truck up on it.
Okay,
In reading the literature on this, it's going to be a 9-ton boardwalk, and I thought that was remarkable for that type of use.
Commissioner Timmerman?
Yes, I have a few questions for you, mainly regarding the safety of the trail, just based on a few of the things that I noticed in the background packet. I think the project's great overall, and this particular segment as well. I didn't get a good idea, and maybe it is in the background, but I didn't get a good idea of the safety precautions for, I guess, avoiding people falling in to the falling into any standing water at a 5-foot fall and any depth of water, especially with no additional lighting at night. Can you speak to the considerations of the safety with that? I appreciate the ADA accommodations and the width of the trail for snow removal and other maintenance. But I'm just concerned about a 5-foot height and then water at the base of that.
I can attempt that as well. It'll have full railings to meet all code requirements. That is the basic safety amenity that's being placed on there with it.
And then as far as the lighting,
Yeah,
is the trail going to be open at night? Is it used at your own peril?
It'll definitely be open at night, and I think if we did try to light it, we'd receive a lot more negative comments than positive. So you're gonna have to take care if you're out there in the night. There's no doubt, but it will have this appropriate safety railings.
Okay, great.
Commissioner Roberts?
Just a simple note, and my understanding is no motorized vehicles,
That's correct.
except for maintenance.
That's correct.
Have we ever had problems with snowmobiles or anything like that in the past? I know we haven't had this trail, we're building the trail, but
I don't have that information. Ryan?
Out in this area would be the most likely area that snowmobiles will exist down in southwest Burnsville. It is more open. I don't anticipate snowmobiles going on there, but
Okay.
if it does, we would be either having a Burnsville police, or it could be a Dakota County parks.
that was my
officer.
second question, was jurisdiction of, since they're gonna be doing the maintenance on it, are we then in charge of policing it?
We'd probably be the first call. If it turns into a consistent problem, we'd likely ask for Dakota County to come out and
Okay.
monitor it. But
Just looking out for the people who
Yeah.
are walking through there, that's all.
absolutely,
Yeah.
and you can use a motorized wheelchair on there as well. That would be the one thing I would say you could use, but
Yeah, that, yeah.
I didn't think you were referring to.
No, I'm thinking more on the lines of something else.
Commissioner Awad?
I think I'm supportive of the whole project. You mentioned that the route of the trail is through lower quality wetland areas. What's the difference between lower quality and higher quality? Or
There's different classifications for wetlands based on water levels, on vegetation, upon ecological support elements. So the wetlands are evaluated or based on different criteria. Within this area, there was a specific note, I just mentioned as I stood up here, that you have areas of landing turtles which are endangered and have to be protected. You have the fen area, which is highly valued. And so in looking at these, some of the studies were, where can we put this with the least amount of environmental impact? And so in making those judgments, I believe that the construction design guidelines that they used were let's put this where we can put this without infecting these other areas that are environmentally sensitive. With that, do you have anything to add as far as the engineering?
You covered it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner John.
I was just curious, what type of materials are being used for the boardwalk portion? I don't know if that was in our materials at all or not.
Yeah, Dakota County, they also are a major funding partner on the project. They're funding considerably larger the portion than we are, so they went through an analysis to determine if it was gonna be a concrete boardwalk or a boardwalk, and they're gonna end up, they're gonna use lumber for it, so it'll be lumber slats going all along there. They had to weigh the maintenance costs of it against the initial upfront cost, but the initial upfront cost of the concrete was too expensive. Sorry for the long-winded answer. I could have
No, that's fine.
that they did go through an extensive, and they came up with wood is what they're going to be using.
And how long is that, the boardwalk portion?
It's in the thousands of feet.
Okay.
But it's definitely not a half a mile. So I'd say
Okay.
it's in that 1,000-foot range, somewhere around there.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other questions, commissioners? So before I open the public hearing, I wanted to let everyone know that the role of the planning commission is to review the land use applications to determine if they meet the standards contained in the zoning ordinances. After reviewing the evidence, we will make a recommendation to the city council. The planning commission's decisions are advisory, and the city council makes the final decision. Tonight, we will only hear comments relating to the conditional use permit to excavate, fill, and construct a trail within the Camram floodplain, and no other comments regarding details of the overall Dakota County Greenway Trail System or construction plans for any other portion of the trail project. If you would like to speak regarding the proposed project in the Camram floodplain, please come to the podium, state your name and address for the record, and write it on the form if you haven't already done so. I'm sure many of you may share some of the same concerns about the application for a trail within the floodplain. If so, please do not repeat comments already stated by someone else. So with that, I will open the public hearing at 6:48. Would anybody like to come up and speak?
Hi, thank you. My name is Mike Turbis. I live at 15208 Wildwood Road, not far from where this project is going to be. I was very excited to hear about it and see the poster advertising it. I think in addition to what they've said is there's a safety concern also by building this trail. I ride through there an awful lot, and when you come down to where the road narrows down, cars can't even pass bicyclists, and bicyclists have to get on the sidewalk with pedestrians, so I think there's also a safety feature to this, and I hope it comes to pass very quickly. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anybody else who would like to speak? Okay. With that, I will close the public hearing at 6:49. Commissioners, do you have any other questions or concerns, comments? Commissioner Roberts.
Yeah, I just want to say great job for those of you that put this together. A lot of information. It was at length, but it was informative. Kind of excited to see what this is going to be like. And actually, I'm excited more for the boardwalk made out of wood, because a boardwalk is what it is. Aesthetically, it's gonna look
Board.
better naturally amongst all the wetlands, rather than a hunk of concrete riding through there. So I'm anxious to walk on that, but, great job for the people that put this together for staff.
Yes, I agree. Commissioner John,
Yeah, I want to ditto Commissioner Roberts' comments, plus say, I really appreciate the look at the wildlife and things of that nature when putting this together. I know it's going to cost more in the end to put in the boardwalk, but I think it's money well spent here, so I really appreciate that.
Commissioner Timmerman,
I know we're supposed to keep a narrow focus here on the actual project at hand, but I'm looking at a Google image right now at how close this is to what could be wonderful, wonderful walking and biking connections to the Burnsville Center area, other areas of the city, and I just think, as far as what our city's trying to do, I think this is a great project.
any other discussion? Would somebody like to make a motion? Commissioner Roberts.
I move that the planning commission recommend to the city council approval of the CUP to allow grading and filling within the floodplain to complete the Lake Marion Greenway Trail project, subject to the following 4 conditions that are listed.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Okay, Commissioner John. Are there any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Motion carries. And this item will be heard at the September 3rd City Council meeting. So the last item on the agenda is updates. Does staff have any updates?
We have a couple of updates, just passing out the agenda for the next meeting. There actually are 2 other items that are not shown on the agenda. They're work plan items, and since most of you are new commissioners, you probably are not familiar, but all of the different commissions do a work plan for the projects that they want to study or look at, and you will do that also come the end of the year, beginning of next year. But on the work plan, there is a review of the city's solar ordinance that's been done each year for several years just due to the changing technology. And then there's also another item, which is the Planning Commission and Council went through pretty extensively the zoning ordinance the last couple of years and tried to make some of our processes more, they call Burnsville friendly, make more things administrative so that people didn't have to pay so much or take so much time to go through a conditional use permit, that type of thing. So we did that a year ago, and Planning Commission wanted to come back in a year just to see how that was working. So that's the other item in addition to the 2 applications that are on there. And then in addition to that, for the city council meeting, they did approve both of the projects that were recommended for approval by the Planning Commission last time. That would be the Park Jeep project for a concept stage plan unit development and interim use and rezoning, and then the quarry property, which was a plan unit development amendment for cement crushing for that to continue. So with that, that's all we have. Thank you.
Commissioners, are there any updates? Okay. Seeing none, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
I move we adjourn the meeting.
Okay, by Commissioner Watt, is there a second?
Second.
By Roberts. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed say nay. Motion carries.